Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper. Today I'll be reviewing Outer Wilds, which was released back in 2019. Now, the main plot of this game is that you are this outer space alien pilot character, and they are basically just part of this like Outer Wilds program thingy, and it's basically just trying to figure out this whole thing that's happening to the universe because every 22 minutes the sun will expand into a supernova, and you're caught in a time loop. So every time the sun expands and it turns into supernova, you'll go back 22 minutes before that happens, and it's basically you have to basically fly to different planets that you can see in the game, and then just figure out what's going on. And this game is an interesting game compared to the other games that I've played, because a lot of the other games are like RPGs, action-based games, or rhythm-based games, depending on the games that I've played, like Hi-Fi Rush, Persona 4 Dancing, or any of the other action-based games or other games like that, like Mario, Link, or The Legend of Zelda, Sonic to some degree. But when it comes to Outer Wilds, it's one of those games that I would say one of those rare games that comes along and just changes how you see or how you experience games, because all the different planets that you experience all have their own sort of ecosystem, all have their own ways of living, that sort of thing. So, for example, there's two planets that with one planet being like a rock-based planet, and the other one made out of sand. And they basically, the planet with the sand will go towards the rocky planet. And that's something really cool, because it's like how you kind of see it in real time, like all the sand being drained from one planet and going into the other one. And then you've got another planet that's just a giant, it's basically just got water and ferocious like tornadoes and weather effects and stuff like that. And there's one big tornado that if you go in, you can find this building and do some puzzles here and there. And yeah, this is one of those games that's really cool in terms of like how each planet you experience has their own sort of weird sort of effects going on and stuff like that. And if you want to go to these different planets, you have to use your spaceship. And what I like about this is that if it takes some kind of damage, so let's say if you fly into a planet too quickly, it will be taking some damage. So like the thrusters might not work as well, or the sensor might not be working. So you will have to repair the ship whenever you land on a planet, or if you're in space, use your the astronaut ship, not the ship, the spacesuit. There we go, the spacesuit to go out into the ship and repair the damages. And what I like about this is like it's different to games like Majora's Mask, because with that game, it's all about stopping the moon within 3 days. And even though I have said I am not a huge fan of being rushed in games that do have a sort of time-based mechanic to it, like Majora's Mask, for example, I'm not a huge. I think the time loop thing is an interesting concept. I think the whole rushing bit aspect of it is like I'm not a huge fan of, because it's like, I have to do this, and this within a 3-day loop or 1-day cycle, or something like that. And with Outer Wilds, it kind of takes that and kind of like changes it a bit. So like, you're not trying to like fight a big bad boss or someone's being corrupted with magic or something like that. It's basically, you're trying to figure out why the time loop's happening and how you can potentially stop it. And yeah, this game does do really, really well, so yeah. And now it's time for some gameplay. So, when it comes to the gameplay of Outer Wilds, it's all done in this... it's basically all done in first person when you're when you're playing, and if you want to explore the world or the whole universe or the galaxy that you're in, you basically go into this spaceship, and you can walk around the main planet you explore or you wake up on first for a bit, or once you've like done some stuff around the main base, and once you find the launch code, you can go into space and basically pick a planet. So let's say I want to go to let's do these two planets first. I can either lock onto it and do autopilot or fly to it manually. And I think all the different planets are really, really interesting, because you've got, for example, these two planets, and you've got one that's rocky and one that's really that's just made out of sand, but it's got like a rocky like underneath to it. And yeah, I think that's really interesting, and you can always use your camera to like try and land. So as you just saw, I landed quite poorly, so let's land. And whenever you're going onto a new planet, you will need to acquire the space outfit, like, or the basically the astronaut's outfit, because that will help you when exploring different planets. And each planet all has their own different gravity. So this one is quite it's okay. I think it's quite jumpy, but each planet all have their own different unique things to them. So, for example, as you can see here, this planet, the rock one, it's absorbing sand, and the more time passes on, the more that particular planet will be completely covered in sand. While this planet, the planet I'm on, will become just a barren wasteland, which I think is quite cool because it's all unique and just how it's like done. And you can take damage as well. It's just so you do have full damage, so it's always good to try and like just time your jumps and stuff like that. And as you can see, I don't have I'll have some fuel. Now you can find some fuel on the different planets, but you can refuel at the spaceship, and then you can take off the astronauts stuff off. And then you can fly off to a different planet. And so you can see the sand planet is starting to form like you can see a building basically. And once this particular planet is completely lost sand, you can see like a lot of buildings. So let's go to a different planet and go to this one. This one is different. And this one is the green one. You can see that's an entire world made of just storms and water and stuff like that. And yeah, that's really interesting and it's really fun. I think, as you'll see, each planet is really unique, and it doesn't take that long to get to different planets. It will take some time, but yeah. And let's do this again. Let's do autopilot, and then once I land, I'm going to fix part of my ship, because if you can see on both the main control screen and the place with the picture, the ship is partially damaged. So I think it's quite nice. In terms of like, it's a great bit of world design in terms of like, if you do damage parts of your ship, you will need to make sure that everything is fixed, and so that you can have a better time of, or you can basically just do, you can basically make it easy for yourself to land and stuff like that. But if it's too badly damaged, then it will explode after a while. Oh! So as you can see, I forgot to go upwards. Or I forgot to like land properly, but that does bring me over to this part, is that every time a loop is finished or you take enough damage, either from the ship explosion or from yourself, or if you do like a too much full damage, you will restart to the previous or from the start of the cycle again. Which I think is quite interesting because it's basically what every piece of media that does use a time loop does, where they send the person who is in the time loop to the start of that given time loop. So yeah, and you will, and what that will do like is that you will see the memories of what you did. So for example, if you did like I think an entire loop is like 22 minutes, and if you do that whole 22 minutes of the loop, you will see everything you did within that particular loop. But if you did like 5 minutes, for example, you'll get to see bits of what you did within those 5 minutes of that particular loop. If you do like full damage or something like that, all the ship explodes. So yeah, I think I'm going to show you one more planet, and that's this one, Dark Bramble, because this one is probably, because this game I would like to think of it uses some sort of like cosmic horror to it, because space is unknown and we really don't know that much about space. I would say that for Dark Bramble, this particular planet's area is probably the most, I would say sort of like scary, but like in terms of like how it's done, because I missed it. Because this particular planet is, if I can actually get inside the planet, is quite scary. So that's what I'm going to show you now. So for this, it's pretty much in fog, and you can see like a bunch of lights, and I believe some of the lights are from some of the enemies that you will find, and if I can find at least one, because this, again, it's this game, or this particular area, has a lot of cosmic horror, and as you can see, anglerfish, and yeah, I think that what makes this really interesting is like it can be scary when it needs to be, and I think when you do your explorations, it's always good to try and go through the different planets and see what secrets what they hold and stuff like that, in terms of like how you can escape the time loop and stuff like that. So yeah. So that's been it for the gameplay. Now it's time to go back to the review. So as a whole, I would say that Outer Wilds is a fun game. It's one of those games that, as I said before, comes every so often and just makes you like, and shows you like how different and interesting and unique games can be, because you've got games like The Legend of Zelda, The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and a bunch of other games that all have like, here's some action, here's some lore for the world, here's a giant boss that you can fight and stuff like that. And with Outer Wilds, it's one of those games that comes every so often and just blows your mind in terms of how cool and unique the world and the lore can be. And it's such a fun game, and I think it had to do with how you try and find different aspects of the lore, how each of the planets work, how you can explore and trying to travel to those planets. And yeah, it's just one of those games that really, I would say, blows your mind whenever you play it, because it's just a unique, interesting way of playing a game that isn't just, here's some action, here's a level that you go through. It's interesting in terms of like how you traverse all the planets and how those planets can either help you finding different bits of lore and how you can stop the time loop, or might hurt you when it comes to like, there's one planet that can, basically made out of thorns, as well as having these like alien eel things. It's kind of hard to explain, because those weird alien eels are like, it's kind of like if you watched Finding Nemo. They're kind of like eels with anglerfish. If you've seen that one scene in Finding Nemo, where some of the characters, I think two of the characters are in pitch black water and they see the anglerfish. They kind of remind me of that scene in Finding Nemo with the giant eel ray things. Anglerfish. There we go. It's really weird, and it's like cosmic weird. It's like one of those things where like nothing can hurt me, but everything can hurt you when it comes to like the time loop, the planets, even space if you don't have your spacesuit or if you don't have enough oxygen, because like with everything, you will run out of oxygen at some time or some point, and you can refill it, I think, on the ship or one of the planets, I believe. And yeah, it's one of the things where I have to really check on how you explore and how you use your time wisely. So yeah. So that's been my review for Outer Wilds. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.